how to reset your class before they drive you crazy. You are now listening to the Teach Well podcast, Season 1, Episode 8. Previously on our last episode, sometimes I'll sit down in my classroom, set a timer for 2 minutes, and just do nothing. Focus on my breathing, relax, and just center and get ready for the next activity. Welcome to the Teach Well podcast, where we passionately educate, encourage, and discuss the wellness of our nation's most valuable resource, our educators. Hi, friends. Welcome back to the Teach Well podcast. It's me, your host, MJ, and I just wanted to take time this afternoon to say thank you. Thank you for showing up today and continuing to support our community to bring wellness to teachers. Our show today is very timely. You know, spring break is coming up, and I don't know about you, but my class is going crazy. But before we get started, let's do a quick check-in, okay? Where's your stress level today? From a 1 to 10. Are we 1? Are we feeling easy? Or are we at 10 and we're feeling stressed out? I hope you're having a wonderful time, but if not, remember you can always go back to previous episodes, and hopefully we've provided something that'll help you through your stressful moments. As for me, I think today, actually, I'm at a 8 or 9, probably even a 10 if I'm honest. It has nothing to do with work. My daughter has applied for college. The acceptance letters should be out, or the acceptance emails should be out within 2 days, and we have 2 days to go, and I am freaking out. Of course, she's calm as a cucumber, but for some reason, I just want to know already all the schools in which she's been accepted so that we can get planning. I'm very proud of her. But I'm just a planner, and that can be a downfall because I just want all my ducks in a row already. So that's where I am in my personal life at work. I'm having a few hiccups, but I've been learning how to deal with those. But remember, this is a community, so if you have any tips for me on how to deal with my college stress, or you have any questions about different things that you're going to, make sure you leave a comment. And if you know any teachers or any educators, principals, specialists, TOSAs that may benefit from this podcast, make sure you share it. I really believe in the mission and the work that we're doing here, and I think it's very needed. And if you agree, please share it and reach out and just connect. I would love to hear from you guys more often. So today's topic is very personal to me. I've recently had to go through the process of resetting my classroom. Before, say, January, February, my classroom was running like a top. I didn't have many problems. The kids were well behaved and we were getting a lot done. The learning was amazing. The kids were great. And then I had to be off work for a couple of days. I had to be out of the classroom to go to PDs. I got a new student. The time change happened. And for some reason, my kids were just off the hook. They were just all over the place. And I had to do a reset. So I thought I would share with you some of the things I learned and some of the things that worked with me. So today our topic is how to reset your classroom before your kids drive you crazy. So what causes a well-run classroom to all of a sudden just explode into fireworks? Spring break, or the promise of spring break, is enough, in my opinion. The kids get so excited. The time has changed, so their schedule is off. The days are longer. They're staying out later. They're dreaming about getting out of class and going to do something fun. And they can just feel summertime around the corner. And it just gets everybody, their juices flowing, if you know what I mean. Another thing that can get the class going is just the upcoming testing. My school district is very heavy into testing. Even my little kindergartners are not exempt. We do so many tests, and the demands to make sure the students perform or just the time it takes to give the assessments just throws off our entire schedule. And another thing about testing that sometimes we don't consider is that the kids get stressed because a lot of them want to do very well. They want to perform on these assessments. They value them and they want to be successful. Another thing is, for some reason, I don't know if this happens to you every year, but I see it every year. There is so much movement in the spring. I lose students, I get new students, and you know how it is. Every time you get a new person in the classroom, it just changes things a little bit. And sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse. But definitely there's a change when you get new students or when you lose students. I recently got a new student. He has a lot of behavior struggles. And, there's been times where I had to have the whole class go out of the room because he just can't control himself. He's throwing chairs, he's throwing tables, he's breaking iPads. And just to protect the students, I have to have them all go outside to the playground and wait for the administration to come. And it takes a while, even with situations like that, sometimes to get the students the help they need, or to get support in the classroom, or to get the students moved to a place where they can get the service that they need. So that really upset my classroom. And again, like I said, when you're out of the classroom a lot for health reasons, maybe you missed a couple of days. In my case, I had to be out of the classroom for professional development. And also they pulled me out to give site-wide assessments to the school. And I just wasn't there. They had a lot of substitutes during that period of time. And all those things mixed together around spring, and you can just find yourself sometimes with a classroom that you don't recognize because it seems like your children have lost their minds. But usually there are those key factors that really set a classroom off. If you know what I mean and you've experienced that, leave a comment. Let us know what you're going through, because sometimes I wonder, is it just me? But I've seen it in other classrooms. But sometimes as teachers, we don't get a chance to connect and share. So if you've experienced that, or you have other demands in the springtime, leave a comment. Let me know, because I would love to hear your concerns or see what's going on with you. Okay, so when these things seem to happen, what do we as teachers tend to do? The first thing I know I did, and I've seen other teachers do, is I just remind them, or, ask them, okay, so-and-so, what's going on over there? Or let's get back to work, or things like that, because I haven't really decided if this is just a hiccup for the day, or is this a bigger problem than expected? Okay, so when that doesn't work, we tend to lay down the law. Our voice deepens, we get serious, and we start reminding the students of the rules and the consequences of breaking the rules, right? So in this class, we don't do this. Or remember, sit down. Why aren't you in your seat? Or remember, if you don't get your homework done, you're not able to participate in XYZ. So we lay down the law. We get that serious voice out, and the kids usually snap together, right? They snap together for about 2 or 3 minutes, and then they're right back at it. So we have to up the ante, right? We think the next thing to do is to pull out the old bribe box, right? If you have a treasure box, candy, stickers, give a lot of praise to the students. Let the kids have early recess, or choose different people. Because usually by this stage, it just takes a few rewards or a few reminders, and your class is back together if you ever had them together in the first place, right? If your management was good from the beginning of school, by this time it just takes a few things. But when people get spring fever, That doesn't necessarily work. So what is the next thing we do? We start to go heavy on the consequences, right? So I tried to talk to you. I've reminded you. I've laid down the law. We've given out rewards, and you still don't want to do what you're supposed to do. So you're going to have to deal with the consequences, right? Timeouts, loss of recess, notes home. And you notice this happening at your school if you just look around, because those graduating fifth graders, sixth graders, kindergartners, middle schoolers, high schoolers, they start to lose their privileges, right? So you won't be able to go on the graduation trip. You won't be able to walk or march. You won't be able to get whatever the reward is for your completion of your schoolwork, right? And usually the graduates are the ones who have the biggest spring fever because they're about to transition on top of everything else. And we pull out the old consequences. The tragic thing about this process is that it gets us all upset, and I wouldn't mind it a little bit. I wouldn't mind being upset a little bit if it actually worked, right? But the problem is it usually doesn't work. We've done all this stuff and the spring fever continues and your class seems to not get it. So may I offer you a suggestion to do a classroom reset? And this is the process of resetting your classroom that has worked for me and that I've trained other teachers in doing, and they've seen lots of success. So step one is to calm down. It's not the end of the world. You need to get yourself in a good place, because coming at the students with anger, stress, judgment, all those feelings, it's not going to get you the outcome that you want. You're just bringing more stress, and you're bringing another element to an already volatile situation. So instead of doing that, I want you to suspend judgment. Act like these kids never did anything wrong to begin with. Let's start from a place of grace. And what I want you to do is just observe. Observe what's going on. Is it just one or two students acting up? Are they influencing the other students? Are the students sleepy? Because like I said, with the time change, my kids were just tired, and so was I. Did something happen? Is something happening that you're not aware of? Is there some bullying going on, especially with middle schoolers or fifth and sixth graders? Usually at the end of the year when I was a principal, that's when you see a lot of online bullying, and there's something going on that you don't know about. So the first step is just to observe, okay? Once you've observed what's going on, the second thing I want you to do is start asking questions, because you need to dig a little bit deeper. So the first set of students I want you to talk to are the students that are well-behaved, because well-behaved students are students that tend to want to learn. They want this off their back. They don't like a disruptive classroom. And usually they'll talk to you and they'll tell you what's going on. They may not tell you the whole deal, but they'll tell you a little bit of what's going on. The second group of students I want you to talk to are the students that seem to be being influenced by other students. So you have a group of students that are just going to do well because they're just going to do well. They're not very easily influenced. And then you have another set that if the class clown or the cool student in your classroom is doing something bad, they're going to join in and they're going to participate. So you need to ask them what's going on. Remember, without judgment, just happenstance, catch them in the hallway, talk to a few of them while they're in line, go out on recess and just hang out and talk to them a little bit. And then the last group, I want you to go directly to the students who seem to cause most of the chaos, and you might want to talk to them one-on-one. Now, you're not going to get answers from everybody, but you can start getting a feel for what's going on. And the kids, if you come with them with the right heart and from a place of grace and not a lot of judgment, a lot of times the students will start feeling like they can trust you and that you really care and you just want what's best for them. They may act like they don't hear you. They may act as if they don't understand, but they do. They get it. They can feel your sincerity. And that's even with kindergartners. So this is not just a strategy for high schoolers and middle schoolers, all the way down to 5 or 6 years old. They'll tell you and they'll talk to you, or they'll feel that you care. The next thing I want you to do is break bread with your class. Now, of course, they don't deserve a reward, and you're thinking, I don't want to bring something for these bad students, but there's nothing like sharing a meal to get things out and to reset the energy in a space, whether it be with you and your husband, you and your children, you and your best friend. Something about food and time spent lowers the stress level or lowers the anxiety between a group of people. So bring in pizza for lunch. Maybe have them make a snack as part of a science activity. It needs to be low level stress and not a lot of outcome inducing, right? So nothing that you're going to grade or nothing that they're going to feel as if they're going to be judged in any way. And during that meeting or during that eating session, what I want you to do is just remind the students how special they are and how much you value them. You might want to go around and sit with two or three of them, and just talk about whatever they're talking about. Crack a joke. Just sit and talk. And remind them that you're doing this because you notice there's some bad energy in the room and you just want things to be better and you want them to succeed and you really care about them and you want this to be a happy place and you want it to be a good environment. Okay, so once you have their attention, before that time is over, I want you to talk about some of the things you've been noticing and ask for their suggestions. Now, there are going to be some kids that crack jokes, or there may not. But some people are going to raise their hand and say, well, maybe we can do it this way, or maybe we can do it that way. Write down their answers. If you're going to chart them, or even just put them in a notebook. You don't have to do what they say. You just need to let them know that you're taking what they suggest seriously. And then put some of that in action. Last thing I want you to do is put some of those things in action. And then what I call the follow-up, right? So you haven't won all of them over. Some of them will still misbehave. But most of them you'll see will start not listening, not following the group. All you have to do is come and touch them on the shoulder as a reminder. And you'll see that you'll win back most of your class and you won't have that spring crazy environment. Now, this is not going to clear up all your problems. And if you had a classroom that wasn't well managed to begin with, that's another conversation. This is not about a reset. That will be about how to start over and what kind of classroom strategies you can put into place. But this is for the teachers or educators or school members that are struggling with students who tend to do well and just are off track. Okay? And this will help you too, because last thing you want as a teacher is to be stressed every day and come to an environment where you just know that a bomb is about to drop or a firecracker is going to go off in your classroom and you're just not going to be able to manage the students. And with an unmanaged classroom is a classroom where the students can't learn, right? And a teacher that's not well cannot teach well. So I hope the strategies that we talked about today you find helpful. And let me know. Let me know in the comments. Let me know if there's something that you found valuable. Or let me know your tips. What do you do when your class has spring fever and you have to do a reset? Share with us. Thank you for listening to the Teach Well podcast, where teacher wellness matters. And remember, in order to teach well, you must be well. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe.